Welcome to the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce.
The Falmouth Chamber is dedicated to working on behalf of our members to make Falmouth a better place to live, work, and conduct business. We are committed to developing the economic, cultural, educational, and civic interests of our community and welcome the support from all organizations to achieve our combined goals. Whether you call Falmouth home, are a summer resident, or a visitor, we hope you take advantage of all that the Chamber has to offer.
Holiday Inn Falmouth opened year-round for your business and travel needs. We provide a full restaurant and accommodations for banquets, holiday parties, weddings, corporate events, seminars, and more. Featuring KC Bar and Grill, where guests or Falmouth residents can enjoy our selection of local craft beers, cocktails, and a variety of pub food from our menu. Holiday Inn Falmouth, your home away from home.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting Monday, May 7 at first open session. Welcome, and we're going to go directly to executive session under General Laws 30A, Section 21A3 to discuss resolution of all turbine litigation, and under General Laws Section 30A, 21A3 to discuss and vote settlement of employment-related claim. And as chair, I declare that to not go into executive session would prejudice the position of the town, and we will return to open session thereafter.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call.
Brown, aye.
Patterson, aye.
Moran, aye.
Jones, aye.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, May 7, and we're going to start open session with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda, we have a proclamation for Eagle Scout Anthony Fusaro.
Whereas Anthony Fusaro, Boy Scout Troop 42, has successfully completed the qualifications for the rank of Eagle Scout, a rigorous and demanding process that teaches patience, perseverance, and teamwork, and requires strong goal setting. And Anthony Fusaro met these challenges with aplomb and shall be recognized as an outstanding representative of his family, his troop, and Falmouth. Whereas the Boy Scouts of America, long acknowledged for building fine citizens, calls for a special court of honor to award its highest symbol of achievement to those who complete this rank. And Anthony Fusaro is now an Eagle Scout with all its rank and privilege. Now therefore we, Susan L. Moran, Megan English Braga, Doug Jones, Samuel H. Patterson, and Douglas C. Brown, as Selectmen of the Town of Falmouth, do hereby declare and proclaim Sunday, May the 20th, 2018, as Anthony Fusaro Day throughout Falmouth. In witness thereof, we have hereunto set our hand and caused the great seal of the Town of Falmouth to be affixed.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Would you come up just for a moment and give us a little bit of information on your project? Thank you.
First off, I'd like to say thank you very much for the town. Thank you for my community. Part of my project was at the lower parking lot of St. Anthony's Church in East Falmouth. What we did where the old house used to be that burned down, we created a trail that was somewhat pre-existing. Back there was remnants of the house's backyard and a lot of evidence of homelessness back there. So we went in, cleaned it up, made it a lot safer for visitors, laid down some mulch, cleared out a ton of brush, made the trail wide, and made it usable for members of the church in the town.
Wow, that's a very important project. I see your parents here. I always find young folks who achieve a lot really have committed parents, and certainly we recognize that as well. And thank you for being a great example and for contributing to the community. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Next, we have on the agenda recognition and announcement that it is Police Week coming up, May 13 to 19, 2018, and just always appreciate the safety that we all benefit from our men and women in blue, and recognizing as well the leadership of the chief, and especially in the challenge of the opioid problem that we have in Falmouth, and just, the surge in the population in the summer, making sure everyone is safe. So again, appreciate Ed Dunn for all his work on that. And then just, I don't want to not mention Mother's Day coming up, and a tribute to all of the mothers that work so hard and really dedicate themselves to their kids, which really is the future for for Falmouth and certainly for the world. So appreciating that. Next we have public comment, which is
Announcements.
Another
We have
announcement.
two
Sorry,
more.
Sam, go for it.
Yeah, just to let you know that we received notice from the Parent Professional Advocacy League, which is a statewide family organization dedicated to improving the mental health and well-being of children, youth, and families through education, advocacy, and partnership. And they're announcing that this is Children's Mental Health Week. And it's certainly an item that we're all sensitive to when we see the number of shootings that have happened around the country. And hope that this week brings to mind that particular issue and concern, and it prompts us to take action that actually might help some child get the support they need to avoid getting themselves into some kind of a situation like that, which of course ruins your life, truly. You can never get away from something like that, not to mention the victims that. So this is Children's Mental Health Week, and I just wanted to mention that since it was brought to our attention. And then you want to introduce Charlie McCaffrey? Oh.
Sure. In public comment, which
Well,
we have.
your choice.
Which we have next. It's an opportunity for someone to speak for 2 minutes on an item that's not on the agenda. If I guess Charlie will be the first.
I just wanted to announce and remind people that tomorrow evening at the Herman Room is a listening session under the state's municipal vulnerability program. That's a program of state assistance to the cities and towns to assess their vulnerability to climate change and identify ways in which they can be more resilient. So the session begins with a poster session, information available at 6 p.m. at the Herman Room, and then there will be more formal period of presentations and comments from the public at 7 p.m.
So it's great information, and there's also an ultimate benefit to property insurance being lower, correct?
Well, that's another one initiative that we have that we can talk about as well.
Great. Thank you. Please come. Any other announcements? Any other public comment? Please.
Hi, Alan Robinson from Falmouth. I'm here representing the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. We wanted to let you know that in our meeting last week, we created a subcommittee, the Litter Subcommittee. It's a response to what I think everyone's recognizing as a town-wide problem. I don't know that there's a roadway or roadside or a beach throughout the town that doesn't have at least a little bit of litter, and some of it has a lot. A number of people have talked to us about it, and we thought really it's about time. Maybe you saw the Cape Cod Times articles about that. It's not just a Falmouth problem, of course. It's a Cape problem. It's a Massachusetts problem. It's a national problem. So we will be focused on trying to do something about that here. And we intend to meet probably on a couple times a month basis. Our first meeting will be on May 22nd, Tuesday, May 22nd at 7:30 here at Town Hall. We hope the subcommittee meetings are open to the public as individuals or community associations or as nonprofits or businesses and as elected officials. We certainly, Megan is our representative with the solid waste, but we certainly invite all of you to join us in these meetings on a problem. And we're not looking at just talking about the problem, our problems. We're really looking at finding things that we can do as individuals and as a community to reduce it.
What time is it?
Doug, it's 7:30.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate that. Anyone else?
You know, that comment makes me want to comment that perhaps our board might want to consider writing a letter of support for Randy Hunt's bottle bill for the NIPS
Let's
on
agenda
a
that.
future
Yeah,
item.
right. That should come
Let's
up
go
with-
ahead and agenda that. That's a great idea.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much. Next, we have on the agenda, under licenses, an application for a change of corporate name and DBA of an all-alcohol common victualler license, which is East End Tap Incorporated, DBA East End Tap at 734 T-Ticket Highway, East Falmouth. Is the applicant here? No?
I move approval.
Is there a second?
This is the organization of J.R. Brody's, we now call East End Tap.
Yeah, it's just a
Correct.
name change.
Yep, they were here
I
not
would
too long
second that.
ago.
And we got references from the police.
Is there a second?
I did.
Oh, sorry. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have an application for an inn-holder license at Fontelux Hospitality Systems LLC, Palmer House Inn, 81 Palmer Avenue, Falmouth. Is the applicant here? Hi, if you could please come and introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm William Brown.
Welcome.
I'm Tom Von Sauer.
Hi.
Hello.
Could you tell us a little bit about why you're making this application?
Go ahead.
We're in the process of buying the farmhouse in from the O'Connells. And for us, it's a solution to a midlife crisis. We're looking to escape the city and move to a place where we can really be part of a community.
Well, it's got a terrific tradition and long-time history. Are there any questions from the board?
Oh, it's a pretty extensive application.
Yep. Quite complete.
I move approval of the application for in-holder license.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Yeah, indeed.
Next, we have an application for a secondhand dealer's license, Cape Kids Treasures at Falmouth Plaza, Davis Straits, consignment sale event twice a year. Is the applicant here? Hi. Could you step? Thank you. Hi, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Dawn Atzelis. My business is Cape Kids Treasures, and I do a semi-annual pop-up consignment sale event. It's an event where families can consign items and purchase new items for their children, just like they would at a brick-and-mortar consignment store, except it's a pop-up, so we do it in a one-weekend type event.
See, and I understand that one of the conditions will be that you'll notify the town manager's office of the dates and hours of the biannual event?
Yes, I'm hoping the landlord will give at least 6 to 8 weeks. We'll sign the contract that much in advance, so I'll be able to let the town know when it's going to happen.
Great. Any questions from the board? Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome. Great.
Okay,
Good luck.
thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have an application for an annual Sunday entertainment license for Rose M. Court, doing business as Sopranos Casino by the Sea, 286 Grand Avenue, Falmouth. Is the applicant here?
We had the applicant here
Nope.
just 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Doing everything else except for the Sunday entertainment, so this is, I think it's just adding Sunday entertainment to their.
And Saturday from midnight till 12:45, I believe.
Yep, both are included
Previously, I think it stopped at midnight, is that correct?
on Sunday.
No, Saturday.
So this is Sunday 12 a.m. to 12:45 and Sunday 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's recorded in live music, 1 to 5 musicians.
I'd move approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Next, we have an application for a common victular license, the Buffalo Jump LLC, 277 Hatchville Road, East Falmouth. Is the applicant here? Hi. Hi, welcome. Tell us about Buffalo Jump.
All right, my name's Laura Higgins-Baltzling, and my husband and co-owner, Brandon, and our daughter, Panis. We are looking to open up a restaurant at the existing Kunamesek farm.
What kind of food?
So quick, casual, breakfast and lunch 7 days a week, and then a little more formal dinners just a couple of nights a week.
Nice. Any questions from anyone?
Interesting idea.
Is there a motion?
I would move approval, that sounds good.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Terrific.
Good luck.
Keep up the tradition, too. I've been there many times.
Next, we have an application for a change of Sunday hours for Windward Merchants, DBA Wild Harbor General Store, 200 Old Main Road, North Falmouth. Is the applicant here? Okay, this is a long-standing business, just changing the Sunday hours, which is fairly common. Are there any questions from anyone on the board?
No, actually, we have no choice in this. They just have to notify us that they want to do it, and we really have to approve it per right.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Next, we have an application for a special one-day wine and malt liquor license for Historic Highfield at 56 Highfield Drive, Falmouth, on Saturday, May 19, 2018, Thursday, June 21, 2018, Monday, July 23, 2018, Sunday, August 12, 2018, Saturday, October 13, 2018, and Tuesday, November 20, 2018.
I need to recuse myself from this application.
Okay.
I move approval.
I would second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I just want to note that there is a requirement for a roped-off area with respect to that application, and I want to be sure that that's recognized. Next, we have an application for a special one-day wine and malt liquor license for Vips, Feasts of Falmouth and Beyond, Mahoney's Garden Center at 958 East Falmouth Highway on Friday, June 8th, 2018. Is someone from Vips here? Hi. So what are you doing, Trace?
Hi, Tracy Crago, Falmouth Volunteers in Public Schools. Sort of in keeping with the idea of at the tasting event, this is our 16th year, we've had about 24 restaurants come every year and offer tastes of their specialties. And it's a great event, but we've had many requests from vendors and customers that they would like to be able to do similar sized tastes of beer and wine. So we're working with our local Cape Cod Beer and Cape Cod Winery in hopes of offering tastes of that as well.
Well, I have to say I've attended the event. It's broadly attended. It's lots of fun. There are usually, families there, and it's a great, in terms of partnerships with businesses, to be able to showcase their, Mahoney's lovely goods to be sold at the same time. I think it's just a brilliant idea. Any questions from the board?
No, I would second. I've been to the last couple, and it's really a nice affair. I guess the only question, are you going to have a tip certified?
Yes, everyone is tip certified, including the volunteers.
And they're going to be roped off areas so
Correct.
that all those children that come
Yep, and
can't
there'll
have
be
easy.
wristband access only. So.
Sounds like a good plan.
Great. Is there a motion?
I move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Hope to see you there.
Okay.
Next, we have an application for a special one-day wine and malt liquor license for the Falmouth Arts Center Summer Gala fundraiser on Friday, June 22nd, 2018. Is someone here from the Arts Center? This is another well-known, well-attended event. Are there any questions from members of the board? Is there a motion?
I move approval.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, under administrative orders, we have an approval for a warrant for annual town election on May 15, 2018.
Well, I move approval. If that's what we're supposed to do. It's just been in the works for some time.
Is there anyone that has any discussion or question with respect to the warrant?
Just to remind everybody that May 15th is Election Day, and I hope people will vote. We do have a question on the ballot concerning the relocation of the football field and building a field at the high school that will be a multi-purpose field. I encourage everyone to vote on those issues and remind people, if you're in Precinct 1, you vote in Town Hall. Precinct 2, Gus Canty Rec Center. Precinct 3, the Falmouth High School Gymnasium. Precinct 4, St. Anthony's Lodge. Precinct 5, the North Falmouth Congregational Church Hall. Precinct 6, in the Falmouth High School Gymnasium. Precinct 7, Wacoit Congregational Church Hall. Precinct 8, the Navigator Club. And Precinct 9, the Jewish Congregational Community Center.
Could we just clarify that St. Anthony's Lodge, is that at the St. Anthony's Parish Hall? At the church? Or is that the one?
It's on the other side of the parking lot from the
But
sanctuary.
it is in the church property?
It is.
It's on the church property, but not the sanctuary itself.
Right.
Right.
There's also a St. Anthony's Lodge on Brick Elm Road.
Right, no, it's the one on
Right.
East Falmouth Highway.
Is there a motion?
I think I moved approval.
Second, then.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have whether to vote to accept a donation of 3 37-inch LG flat-screen TVs with a total value of $900 from the Seacrest Resort to the Falmouth Rec Department.
I move approval of to accept the donation with thanks.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's nice of them.
Sure is.
Next, we have whether to authorize an expenditure of up to $30,000 from Article 17 of the April 2011 town meeting to fund a contract with the Woods Hole Research Center to monitor nitrogen removal in the lower Coonamessett River for up to 3 years. Is there someone here on that?
It's Eric.
Please. Thank you.
Eric Turkington, the chairman of the Water Quality Committee. And Chris Neal is here, who is with the Woods Hole Research Group, and he's going to be doing this research.
I didn't recognize him without the herring hat.
Yes.
The thinking is that the town is doing an amazing amount of work on the Coonamessett River, turning it from bogs into a natural river. And of course, our interest is in the nitrogen and the groundwater there, and the effect that these changes will have on that groundwater. So we've engaged Chris and the U.S. Department of Agriculture are jointly going to do this, sort of figuring out what the nitrogen level was before and what it is afterwards, and how much of a gain the town's going to see as a result of this. We think it's important, and we're taking it from Article 17, so it's not new money, and it'll be well worth it.
I would move to authorize the expenditure of $30,000 or up to $30,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
To you and all your committee members for all this work.
Next, we have whether to accept an easement for water services, Cedar Street, Mara Vista. Mr. Suso, do you want to tee that one up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This was transmitted to the board from Town Council Frank Duffy, and who's recommending consideration for approval.
Is there any question or discussion with respect to the proposed easement?
I would move to accept the easement for the water services on Cedar Street.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I have no idea, though. I think that's just an extra tab that was put in there. And I don't have anything to sign in that regard, so that just the vote would be sufficient, I guess? With respect to the easement?
Yes, I think
There is a
so.
signature page.
I mean, it's probably just mixed up. We'll get to it. It's just not
Yeah,
in
it
the
should be one
not
there.
in the purple packet yet. Okay, next we have a petition to the general court for special legislation extending Chief Edward Dunn's retirement date. This is pursuant to the vote at town meeting again. Is there any discussion, questions? Is there a motion?
I would move to send the petition to the general court for the special legislation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Next, we have whether to authorize an application for state municipal vulnerability preparedness grant program funding. Is there someone here for that item?
Mr. McCaffrey.
Mr. McCaffrey is here.
Thank you, Charlie.
The State Municipal Vulnerability Program provides assistance and grants to towns to be better prepared to address the effects of climate change. We received a grant last year of $20,000 to conduct a workshop and public listening session to get community opinion as to what are our vulnerabilities, how we might best protect them. Having initiated that process in March and expecting to complete it by June, we are eligible to apply for action grants. The state has $5 million available to communities for action grants under the Municipal Vulnerability Program. It requires a 25% match from the municipality. Among the eligible activities in the action grants is the development of a municipal vulnerability assessment, a more detailed look at exactly what resources and infrastructure is at risk from what various causes that are changed by the changing climate. Town meeting had voted $80,000 for the municipal vulnerability assessment if we did not have, since we did not yet have state money. It's possible now to apply for state money for that and other purposes using the $80,000 as match. We can do even more by asking for an additional $240,000. They want what we asked for to be based on the workshops that we had in March. One of the major priorities identified at that meeting was, as expressed here, development of sediment management plan for Falmouth's coastline. It's clear from that one of our most valuable assets that's affected by climate change is our beaches and wetlands. Most of our shoreline is characterized by beaches. They are experiencing erosion, whether there are public beaches or just a beach form adjacent to private property. So we want to look at what is the sediment system that feeds our beaches, have a better understanding of that relative to when we use dredge spoil, other forms of beach nourishment. And over the long term, what can we do to maintain a shoreline that's characterized by beaches? And we'll also look at when we have a major storm, there's always a chance of what are referred to as breaches, where the ocean opens up a barrier beach and flows freely through it. Not just an overwash, which leaves the land, but removes the beach. We would like a contingency plan to close those as soon as possible. If you wait, then breaches tend to widen. Sometimes they'll close on their own, but sometimes they'll widen. The idea behind this is that we would identify where breaches are likely to occur, where we could get sand to fill it so that we could act immediately, and actually apply for and get standing permits should a breach occur that we can fill it. this is a very sensible approach, certainly in the early years of the changes that we're facing. So we're working on developing the work plan for these that needs to be submitted to the state by the 18th of May. There have been discussions with Public Works, Conservation, and we will discuss it more fully, exactly what we hope to achieve with the additional dollars at the meeting of the Coastal Resilience Committee tomorrow.
Great, appreciate you jumping on this. Obviously, the committee name being Coastal Action, the fact that this is an initiative that will have us do advanced planning and be ready, have permits ready, have sand ready. I mean, they experienced it in Chatham not too long ago, and it was quite a challenge for fishing and really had an economic, impact. So I think it's a, really sensible idea. Is there any questions from the board, Sam?
Well, just a comment that it seems like you as a committee have moved to really starting to construct policy now. You're talking about where you might actually intervene and repair damage from coastal storms. So I gather you've kind of moved forward in terms of structuring some policies that we can use for going forward.
Well, this study would indicate where the risk is,
yep,
and make recommendations as to how you would respond. Do you fill that breach? That would be the most typical case. There may be breaches that we think may happen that we choose not to fill.
Okay.
That would be up to, a separate decision of the town.
Doug?
So that's a pretty short timeline for the grant?
Yes.
I think that's really realistic that you can get that ready?
Yes.
And then what's the closing date? How soon do you think you'll know whether or not you're successful?
Well, that was an important question because, as you know, we have the 80,000 and we were ready to issue requests from consultants to respond.
Mm-hmm.
So I was concerned about any delay. I spoke to the woman who is in charge of the governor's climate program twice. At a meeting, I said, how soon do you expect to act? And she says, within a few weeks. I spoke to her again on the phone and I said, so I want to confirm you will make the decision about the grant so we can move forward within a few weeks. And she said, no, within 10 days we'll decide.
Oh, really?
Which was unusual. So that, we're not delaying moving forward on the money that we have, except by a few weeks, I would expect.
Okay, then. That's encouraging. Thank you.
I would move to authorize the application for the State Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Grant Program.
I would second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for all the work ahead of you as well. Next, we have whether to approve a letter of support for Marine Biological Laboratory pursuit of state funding for replacement of waterfront park seawall. Is there anyone here from MBL? Hi, welcome. Oh, of course. Could you give us just an overview?
Sure. Sebastian Lay with the MBL. So Waterfront Park faces Great Harbor and Woods Hole, and it's really the one piece of public land, public use land in Woods Hole that's on the waterfront, on the Woods Hole side. And so over the past couple of decades, the MBL has been doing some spot repairs on the seawall, which protects Waterfront Park and the MBL Club. And increasingly with increasing storm frequency, especially with the southerly wind and the southerly fetch, we've seen a degradation in the resilience of that wall. And we think over the next few years we'll need to either fully replace that wall or face the risk of having to shut off access to that part of Waterfront Park and potentially close off access to the MBL Club and the Visitors Center. So at this time, there's a couple of different state funding mechanisms that we could pursue, and we're just investigating which route is the most appropriate. So the three potential are the Seaport Economic Development Council grant program, the Environmental Bond Bill, which is working its way through the House right now, and a Community Preservation Act funding mechanism. So it may be some combination, but given the public use nature of the park and the importance of that seawall, being replaced, we thought it best to come to the selectmen to see if you'd be willing to support our application.
Great.
Questions, Doug?
And that's certainly with the intent of maintaining this public use.
Absolutely.
If there's any change in that plan, you'd be coming back to us to let us know or converse with us that, you know, when you find out there you can't rebuild it or you can't replace it, I hope that the MBL will be coming back and say, okay, we need to reconsider the situation as opposed to just moving forward with the plan that you guys determined.
Absolutely, yeah. If for any reason it could no longer be publicly accessible or available for public use, we would come back to you.
Great.
Any other questions, Doug?
Hopefully the Seaport grant will be, will work for you because we're still waiting for money for the environmental bond bill to fix the bike path.
Ah, okay.
I would move approval of writing a letter of support for the MBL's pursuit of state funding.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful spot.
Next, we have on the agenda whether to approve a purchase from the library donation account in the amount of $902.09 for Demco bookcases at the North Falmouth Library. Anyone here from the North Falmouth? Seeing none. Looks like this was pre-purchased. There were 2 bookcases, and they're needed for added space for display of newly purchased titles.
I would move approval of the purchase of the
Second.
library donation account.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have, under special events, recurring recommended, Arts Alive, Falmouth Village Association, Shore Street Extension and Library Lawn, Friday, June 15, 2018, and through Sunday, June 17, 2018. Is there anyone here from the Village Association? Come on up. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Lee Geisiger, Chairperson of Arts Falmouth and Vice President of the Falmouth Village Association. Arts Alive has been 14 years running on Shore Street Extension and Library Lawn. And this year we're partnering with the Village Association, so it's handy that I'm on both boards. We've got the Village Association providing the execution of the event this year, which is why the application is in that name. And we are looking to add Peg Noonan Park to the equation as well. And that's the one thing that's different from previous applications.
Any questions?
Isn't there a little schedule conflict on that Saturday with Peg Noonan Park? Is that when the Falmouth Water Stewards are doing their?
Right.
June 16th?
Yep,
Yeah.
so that'll be accepted as, I think you got a heads up about.
Yes, that was brought to our attention. What we're looking for with Peg Noonan Park is to add some vendors there. Obviously, there is no exchange of money on the library lawn, but Shore Street Extension and Peg Noonan Park, so we're looking to add some craft vendors. Some people specifically have asked for that spot. We want to take advantage of the stage, recognizing that the ceremony for the water stewards is between 10 and 12 Saturday morning. We will work around those hours, but have access to Peg Noonan Park the rest of the weekend.
Is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Sounds like a great event.
And we'll see you the second week in June. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's a great event.
Thank you.
Next, we have new recommended special events, a wedding ceremony for Dean at Magansett Beach, Saturday, August 11, 2018. Any questions or concerns from members of the board?
I move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have the Kevin Looney fundraiser bike ride, Lisa Looney Shining Sea Bikeway, Saturday, July 28th, 2018. Is Lisa here? No, are there any questions from the board? Is there a motion?
I guess I'm a little concerned about the bike path on a Saturday in the middle of the summer and what this is going to do for the general use of the bike path at that time.
50 attendees.
And 50 vehicles?
And so it's Depot Ave, so that would likely be Depot Ave parking on Saturday, July 28th, in the morning. Over at 11. The other side of that is that those are probably folks that will, go up to Falmouth proper and maybe, visit the shops and merchants and eventually have lunch.
I would just, for that kind of bike ride, I really want to reiterate the condition about the Shining Sea Bike Path rules, that they're crossing a very major traffic route, and they're going to have to stop, follow the rules, wait for the flashing light, as opposed to they're not going to be able to stop traffic for this.
Very important point.
That begs the question of whether we have some kind of an advisory that we could actually have sort of boilerplate for this kind of activity in the future. Julian, I think, is that something we might be able to put together, maybe in consultation with someone from the bike committee?
Absolutely.
Because it is a good point, and I worry, along with Doug Jones, about the safety issues.
I guess I'm really not that comfortable with this idea at all about it's a really, really busy bike path and road in the middle of the summer.
Busy.
To be shutting down. I guess I'm uncomfortable with this.
It almost begs a police detail, quite honestly, if we're going to host this kind of an event, where the policeman's there to hold back the bicyclists for a while, then he stops the traffic and allows a group of bicyclists to go through. I think I've done enough youth groups where you have a group of youth and you want to cross the road, and managing that process is extremely important, because there's always going to be somebody who's not paying attention, who goes out late. So I can envision, a challenge, if you will, to maintain safety for this type of event.
Did Julian or Peter, were you part of the special events committee that reviewed this?
This came between meetings, so it was not discussed at a review committee meeting. The comments from the departments were taken by email.
Okay, and we don't have any representative here?
I would say, in addition to the traffic concerns and the safety issue, it's just a lot of people to be putting on a Saturday in the middle of summer, in the height of summer. It might not be the best time of year for it. I mean, the Wounded Warriors always chose fall. Now it's going to be
spring,
May, coming up in another week, just specifically so they wouldn't have this kind of concerns. Maybe we should send it back to the events committee and let them actually debate it.
Happy to take a further look at it if that would be the board's preference.
Is that what's needed, or is it something that would be voted today? It sounds like there isn't much favor. Is it something that, in other words, I don't want to have these folks, spend extra time and the committee spend extra time when it's really not the board's thought to encourage this kind of event. I mean, and I'm not sure I don't know anything about the benefit and whether it's a Falmouth resident or any of that, so.
I just have more questions I think need to be answered first by the committee and then by us.
And I agree with that. I think we really would like the committee to weigh in on this and look at the various logistics aspects of this, including the crowding. And, since they didn't actually have a chance to look at it and review it and think about it, I think Doug is on the right track.
All right, so let's defer that and continue it to a future date. And also, I mean, when it's on the recommended list, we should definitely have someone here that did the recommending so that we can deal with those right away. All right, so we'll just defer that and move along. Next, we have under new recommended a yoga class, Sandra Waite, Marina Park, Bandshell Side, for Saturday, July 14, 2018, and Saturday, August 4th, 2018. Is Ms. Waite in the audience? What would be the thoughts of the board?
I'll just comment that this is a free event, that she's offering free yoga classes. I'm sure she'll accept donations, but it is something that is not being charged for the yoga classes. Otherwise, I'd have an issue with us doing this, but think a 1-hour yoga class that's available for free on those 2 dates is fine.
Oh, is that a motion?
Yes.
Oh, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next we have under business, the Board of Selectmen acting as trustees of Falmouth Affordable Housing Trust. Two-part, the first being Falmouth Housing Corp. presentation, application for $750,000 for a 10-unit rental housing at 587 Gifford Street, with the board to discuss and consider approval. Mr. Johnson Starr, were you presenting? Welcome.
Linda Clark,
Linda
representing
Clark.
the Falmouth Housing Corp., will have a presentation.
Great.
Thank you for having us this evening. Linda Clark, Falmouth Housing Corporation. I am the president and director. I've been in that position for 5 years now. This is the second affordable project that I have been involved with. The first was Natantico out at Woods Hole with 11 units. Let's talk a little bit about the proposed project. We're looking to develop 21 bedroom units. That seems to be the demand, the one bedrooms workforce. It's out at 587 Gifford Street. We currently own the property. We have 36 existing units on that property, all affordable, ranging from 30 to 80%. We're looking to phase the project with 10 one-bedrooms, and then next year, another 10 one-bedrooms. It'll be a total of 20 units, all one-bedrooms. It is going to be a friendly 40B project. We do have a 40B existing, although our plan is to carve out the land and start an entirely new 40B. It makes better sense based on geographically how the lot is plotted out. We go next one, Peter. Oh, I have the clicker, sorry. I've never done this before. Okay.
Oh, there you go, you're a whiz.
I'm good. So there is the site. As you can see, the existing project, we have 8 buildings. Where you see the star is currently the garden for the service center. The service center has agreed with a lot of discussion that a better use of that land is for housing. So Brenda has agreed, and her board, to supply us with a letter of support. Her gardeners will have this entire season, and then make arrangements to move onward to another site. I think they're looking maybe at Tony Andrews, which is more appropriate, and this is a more appropriate site for housing. This is a sketch of the proposed housing on the site. You'll see upper left-hand corner is Building 1. Next, that's a 6-family. Next to it is Building 2. That's considered Phase 1. Building 3 and 4 are considered Phase 2. The septic system you'll see on the property is designed for 20 bedrooms. It's for the entire project. Speaking with Holmes and McGrath, they are not able to put 2 separate systems in or put one system in and allow only half the usage. The system needs to go in during Phase 1. Any questions on the site? Next we have, on the left-hand side is the garden. On the right, you'll see some of our existing housing. The service center would be to our left in this photo. You'll see the garden. In the background is 2 of the existing buildings. And this photograph is taken from the service center over towards our project, and you'll see a couple of our buildings in the background there. Moving on to our development team. We do have a very experienced development team. As you know, we've been here for many, many years. We have a total of 183 affordable units that we currently own and manage. 704 Main Street with 59 units. 704 FHC LLC, that is the 36 units at 587 Gifford Street. And then up the road past the service center, we have another 14 units. Also, in the development at 587 Gifford Street, we have Bridgeport, which is 8 studio apartments, which is designed for the homeless. Edgerton Drive is 24 units out in North Falmouth. Natantico, of course, most are familiar with that project, is 11 units. And Falmouth Community LLC, which is Schoolhouse Green, right next to the Stop and Shop, that's our elderly units, 39. Affirmative Investments is our consultant in this project. Davis Square Architects out of Somerville, they are our architects who also did Natantico and Schoolhouse Green. Contractor, we're looking at the Valley Group. We just completed a project with the Fairwinds over on Catherine Lee Bates Road. 4 units, and Valley was the GC on that project. Our civil engineer is going to be Holmes and McGrath. Legal is going to be Laura Moynihan. And lender is going to be Cape Cod 5 Cent Savings Bank. We can talk a little bit about the project budget. For the first phase, 10 units, the estimated cost is $2.5 million. Carla had informed me that the Affordable Housing Fund had made a recommendation for $650,000. And we've applied for our funding for 1.3 through the Community Scale Housing Initiative. Permanent mortgage would be at $480,000, and we still have a gap of $100,000 on the project. And the reason for that gap is our pre-development costs are pretty extensive. The architectural will be done, which will not happen on phase 2. All the site work will be done, will not happen on phase 2. There's a lot of things attached to civil engineering. The entire septic system will need to be in place. So there are a lot of pre-development costs with phase 1 that will not reoccur in phase 2. Project timeline. This is rather a shock to all of us. One of Tara Mizrahi from Affirmative Investments, one of her representatives went to just a workshop, and she came back with some information, and Tara said, well, do you want to put a pre-app in? And I'm like, yeah, sure. It's not going to happen right away. Might as well. Well, we did, and we received a letter on April 17th that we were approved for the pre-app. It was shocking. So DHCD and Mass Housing understand the need. They're moving quickly with this type of funding.
Be careful what you ask for.
Oh, I know. So I was kind of in shock when the letter came through, and it was very fast. We submitted the pre-app on the 28th of March, and we received the letter on April 17th. It's less than a month. So May 7th, we're before the Board of Selectmen. May 16th is the deadline for the full application on this project, and that's full. So that is next week. We're working aggressively day and night. We've had architects working over weekends. We are moving very, very quickly to ensure that the application is complete and hopefully will be accepted. July, August, the decision will be made on all the applications. If we are awarded, we are breaking ground probably in November. And May or June of next year, we will have 10 one-bedroom units.
Excellent.
It's moving very, very, very quickly.
Easy.
I assume you guys would be the monitoring agent?
We cannot be the monitoring agent, we will be the managers. We will have to choose a monitoring agent, maybe Falmouth Housing Authority would be interested in that role, but it's a conflict, we can't monitor our own projects. But we will be there to most definitely operate and manage these units.
Sam?
Now, you said it's a 40B, are 25% going to have an affordability restriction?
Yes.
Or are the entire 10 units and eventually 20 units going to be affordable? 40B, typically, there's a percentage that are affordable and a percentage that are market rate.
We're looking at 50%, a mix of 50% and 80%.
Thank you.
There'll be no market units.
Gotcha.
They will be all affordable units. The rents will range from $808 to $1,150, depending on income levels. And these all include utilities.
Wow.
And so if they're all rentals, they all count towards our
Yes.
housing stock?
Correct.
Right.
Sam?
I have one more question. That's the style, the architectural style. Is that going to be like the other buildings that you have there in this
Yes, they are, Sam.
subdivision?
Yes. We are going to take on the same architectural detail with the Cape Cod shingles. They will blend right in with the existing project.
Sounds good. I would move approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was quick.
Sorry to keep you so long.
And my final slide.
All these processes are quick.
Yeah, I have a question related to this kind of a project on Gifford Street, because, you know, the high school has a sewer hookup. And it seems like if we're going to be building density along Gifford Street, we should consider possibly running a sewage line down from the high school to service some of these areas. Now, I know you can't wait for that. You've got to put in a system. But if we're going to see more development along Gifford Street like this, maybe this is an area that should be looked at by the Water Quality Management Committee, because it seems like it's not that long a link if, in fact, the main from the high school to the West Falmouth wastewater treatment facility is adequate to service some more units. But if we're seeing this kind of build out in density, we'd like to make sure we have the infrastructure to support it and try to mitigate the nitrogen loading. Now, I assume that septic system is going to have some denitrifying capacity to it. So that's
going to meet Title V, yes.
Well, Title V is not denitrifying. But is this the Holmes and McGrath rock
Yes.
system? Which is?
Holmes and McGrath is the civil engineer in the project, yes.
Okay, well, that's.
But it doesn't mean it's a denitrifying system.
But the ruck system happens to be, or unless it's a version that, that's why I was asking whether it was there.
It's probably not.
I don't think we're there yet.
Whoops.
No, we're not.
We
We aren't there yet.
That kind of detail. We're trying to get something out by the 15th.
Yeah, understood. But I'm raising a community development issue where we're trying to manage the growth. And I want to make sure that we take advantage of, relatively less expensive build out of infrastructure like sewers when it's potentially just, a half a mile up the road with perhaps easements that could be easily obtained. Because the opposite side of the road is the town woods. I'm just throwing that out as a brainstorming thought.
Great, congratulations.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Thank you.
To reiterate, we are approving the expenditure of $650,000 from the Affordable Housing Fund for this project.
Contingent upon the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee, which meets this Thursday, and it is the first item on their agenda, because I checked. That's part of the state law. So I would move approval of $650,000 being authorized from the Falmouth Affordable Housing Fund, contingent on recommendation from the Community Preservation Committee.
Is there a second?
Sure.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great.
Madam Chair, we have
Yes.
Housing Coordinator Carla Ferroni with us, and it may be appropriate if Carla has some additional comments to make on this, to give her that opportunity. On the other hand, maybe it's not necessary, but I wanted to raise it.
Okay, before Linda leaves, could I ask, since this is moving forward at such a rapid rate, what about Little Pond Place?
That is too.
We do
It
want
is?
to stick to our agenda, though, as well.
Well,
Carla.
all right.
We
just for
are-
open meeting law
Never mind.
purposes.
Okay.
Yeah, chances are it's going to kind of happen at the same time.
Carla, would you mind just stepping up just
Phenomenal.
for a second and at least to take some gratitude for you and Peter helping to expedite this important project with a very short deadline, and, you know, to thank you for, you know, really with Eric and Linda and everyone really jumping on this, because this is going to be a great move forward for Falmouth. Did you have anything in particular to add?
Well, I came up as a representative of the working group for the Falmouth Affordable Housing Fund. And we met last week to discuss this proposal. And the group is comprised of a member of the Community Preservation Committee, the Affordable Housing Committee, Town Manager's Office. I'm on the committee, Selectmen Liaison Sam. And, you know, the group did a great job. We received the most complete application that Linda could get us in the short turnaround time that she had. And the group had already had a meeting scheduled, so we were fortunate in that respect. And we met last week, and we were discussing priorities for the fund based on housing needs and our last housing production plan that was completed in 2009. You know, we have hired a consultant who's on board now working on the update to that plan. And we were looking at procedures and how our review process, we thought it should go, and the priorities. And we felt that the priorities were rental units. And this project really spoke to those priorities, and it was presented to us by a very well-known, highly regarded group here in town, and we really wanted to work quickly to expedite this so that Linda and her group can get the application with a letter of town support to the state for their funding. Initially, the application came on to us for 10 units, looking for $750,000. And we reviewed an application that wasn't complete with its financials. And we worked off of what we had and looked at the past and what we had authorized in the past for per unit expense. In the past, it was $50,000 per unit. Other towns had been doing such as well. So we upped that per unit up to $60,000 per unit and added an additional $50,000 in development costs up front to help them get going. And so there was only one member of the group who was not in agreement with that, and that member wanted to fund the project at the $750,000 level. But we're all in unanimous decision that this is a project that we highly recommend.
Appreciate that, just the analysis that goes into these projects and how carefully they're reviewed. And I also want to recognize Holly Wilson from Affordable Housing is in the room, and, you know, appreciate your involvement as well, Holly.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Peter?
I just wanted to add one other detail, and that is, as has typically been the case with awards for housing of this magnitude, there will be a letter of agreement detailing the contingencies and the commitments, so we'll be preparing that for the board to sign.
Great. Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for
all.
expediting all of this.
Great opportunity. Next, we have on the agenda the annual appointment of inspectors of animals. Mr. Suso?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. This is an annual process that the board undertakes. We have 4 individuals who we are looking for essentially reappointment. You've appointed them in the past, and I so recommend.
Any questions from the board?
I move that we appoint Philip Lang, Daniel Donahue, Jessica Gao, and Jenna Correa to a term ending April 30th, 2019 as animals, Inspector of Animals.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a request for a sign variance of an off-premise promotional sign.
Board of Registrars.
Oops,
Board of
sorry,
Registrars, just
skipped
one more.
one. Appoint a member to the Board of Registrars. We have Kathleen Mortensen. Is Kathleen here?
Nope, I don't see her.
This is a reappointment. Are there any questions?
I move that we reappoint Kathleen Mortensen to the Board of Registers, term expiring on April 1st, 2020.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I've seen Kathleen in the town clerk's office working in the past months, so I know she's doing a good job.
Very good. And now we're on to the request for a sign variance for off-premises promotional sign for the Falmouth Commodores baseball game today. We've seen this many times before. Are there any questions?
Nope.
I think it's a great-looking picture, right, that we had in our packet?
It wasn't that close.
Yeah, I hope it's a little more legible, isn't it?
Looks great, I would move approval.
The second. We've seen them before. We trust you.
Oh, good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Next, we have whether to approve a 2018 seasonal annual license renewal for the Captain's Manor Inn, 27 Main Street, the Secondhand Dealers, Harmony Hut, 105 Spring Bars Road, and Uncle Bill's Country Store, 412 North Falmouth Highway.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have minutes of meetings.
We're doing open session first.
Yes.
So this would be Monday, March the 26th, 2018. I've actually already conferred with Jennifer, but if I could go through and point out the edits that I recommended and let you be aware of them in case you have any questions about them. On page 5, in what would be the 4th paragraph, well, in our copy, hard copy, it says A-G-R-I-E-D, which should be Mr. Patterson agreed. Actually, Jennifer's digital copy shows the correct spelling. So that was a correction that I recommended. So on page 6, if you look at the paragraph under item 3, the second paragraph under item 3, I wanted to correct the spelling of Walter Crotty. It should be C-R-O-T-T-Y, who's a member of the Recreation Committee, but also of the school committee. So I thought it might be good to include that as well, since it has to do with the fields and the sports up at the high school.
Okay.
And on page 7,
Yep.
under item 8, what would be the second paragraph or the first full paragraph, it says Alan, the last name unknown. It's Alan Robinson, who spoke to us just earlier this evening. We can insert that.
Great.
And then on page 8, at the end of 13, where we approve all seasonal licenses, where we get into the narrative, and the second paragraph below that, it says the Board of Selectmen noted, got their attention. I think we should just drop that little phrase and say Megan English Braga pointed out their plan could be successful, and the Board of Selectmen is inclined to try it for a year. Because I'm quite confident it was Megan that actually made that observation, and I agreed with her. And she's the one that actually made the positive motion. So those would be my recommended changes.
So that'll be a motion with those changes?
I have one on that same, on page 4. Just the fact that I had asked that maybe that we should consider having a fluorescent or reflective marker on that piling on the dock hearing. Page 4, paragraph 12 on that dock hearing.
It actually is included later. I don't think if you look at the last sentence where it shows the action, it says, Mr. Patterson motion to approve to include condition that the piling has a reflective component around the circumference. So you probably came up with the idea, but
Okay,
She, as far as recording the action,
all right then.
I think it got included as part of the motion.
Okay then.
All right, so just with the initial changes, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Got those, Jen? Great, next.
Didn't mean to steal your credit. It was included, I was looking for it myself.
I was looking under my own name.
With respect to, we're on to the executive session, or actually, there's one more public session. Do
Those
we
aren't
have?
ready yet.
Those
No,
aren't ready, right, I
that
saw
was
that.
right,
Okay,
yeah.
so to the executive session, March 26th.
I would move approval of executive session 1 and not release.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next?
I thought we could release these. Executive session 2. This is a collective bargaining update on the fire union negotiations.
No, we're still,
Are we still in there?
we're still bargaining with the fire union.
Okay. I would move approval and not release of executive session 2.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I would move executive session 3, approve and release.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next?
And we've not resolved this case, haven't we?
I don't know if it's signed, though.
Yeah,
We can wait till it's signed till we release it.
I think that'd be the prudent thing to do.
Okay. I would move approval and not release.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have individual selectmen's reports, and I just want to say again that the Coonamessett River opening that both town manager and Sam attended with me was just amazing. It not only has a great potential for measuring, the water quality, but it's a terrific place to bring kids, to tour. The community's already enjoying it. We've only finished phase 1. We're on to 2. Doug?
Can I just
Sure.
piggyback on that?
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to mention that just really neat to see, we had federal government representatives, state government representatives, our local state reps were there or had representatives speaking on their behalf. It's just nice to see such a huge team effort. A lot of grant money has gone into this and a lot of sweat equity by volunteers, citizens of the community. So this is a true outpouring of labor dedicated toward and something that, yes, will have a short-term benefit for those of us that are alive today, but I think it's also important to recognize it. To me, this is a characteristic of humans that you don't see in other species, and that's the ability to think to the future about your species and do things in the short term that may cost you money, but are intended to remediate some of the environmental impacts that we're creating today, with the understanding that the benefits will be most appreciated by future generations, because we're looking at herring stocks that are depleted down to less than 1% of what they used to be historically. And so this is an opportunity to begin to see those herring stocks come back. It's not just the fact that they're there, but these are the feeding stock for those fish out in the ocean. So it's an important part of the food web. And when you take a piece out of it like this, the herring, it has a long-term impact. So this is a long-term benefit that we, in my lifetime, I could say, we might not see the benefits of it, but I think in the future that would be the case. And there aren't too many other species that have an awareness of their species being perpetuated in the future. And I think this is one of those cases where humans have that ability. And it's nice to see that we're thinking long-term. We're not just thinking about our own self-interest, but we're making an investment for future generations.
Every once in a while, we can be proud to be humans.
And proud of the fact that humans that follow on after us
Right.
will enjoy a quality of life that's close to what we're enjoying today.
Right.
Doug?
So I enjoyed attending the No Place for Hate meeting at the library, and Sam was there. I didn't get to stay for the whole thing, but it was very interesting, the ideas of, they put up a board and it says, an interesting phrase about Falmouth, and it said Falmouth this, Falmouth friendly, and all this. It's how many times do you see the letter F? And most people got it wrong. It was just like, it's just an awareness that we're not paying attention all the time to everything. So it was an interesting forum, and I had to rush off and go to the Yes on One committee. group, so I didn't get to see the whole thing, but it was interesting. I also attended a meeting with the Mass Development representatives at the State Pier to learn about the possibilities or not possibilities of the freight shipping there, and it doesn't seem like that's any kind of a fast track. The report that had been done by the consultant indicated that, you know, it was only a few $1 million and it could be done in a few months, but it seems a much bigger project, and they've hired consultants to evaluate the pier, and those two reports, one is for the buildings and the operations, and the second is for the pier itself, and those studies won't be in until midwinter, and then they got to find the funding source, and, you know, it's a long-term project.
Those are the piers in New Bedford.
Yes, it is. It's right near the downtown, the redevelopment district. I also attended the Steamship Authority Port Council meeting, and I asked them to continue to consider the Northport Terminal just as a citizen, because I've been paying attention and learning about it, and it seems like it's a shovel-ready project, and they're seeking grant funding now, so I encourage them to consider that. That was it for me for my recent activities.
Sam, you good?
Yeah, I've been going to my normal meetings. Nothing to
Doug?
really point out.
It was great to see our state legislative group at the library on Tuesday night. They were in town and got to talk to the people. It was a small crowd. It was rescheduled from 2.5 months ago, but it was good to have them in town to chat with Falmouth people.
It's great the way they work together. You know, it's really the Cape delegation is very close and productive.
Whether they actually are representing the same district or not, they really make a good team.
Yeah, they are very helpful to each other, and they work well, regardless of personal opinions.
Bipartisan.
Exactly.
Mr. Suso.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. This past Wednesday, I was pleased to join with Selectman Chair Sue Moran and Town Planner Tom Bott at a meeting with representatives of MBL and HUI to discuss some facility issues of common concern, and that included the matter of the deteriorating seawall that was mentioned this evening at Waterfront Park. Also, as a reminder, our annual police memorial ceremony, of course, the board noted that under your announcements this evening as well, Tuesday, May 15th at 10 a.m. We look forward to that important observance. Also, want to advise members of the board that work continues on the long-awaited reconstruction of the police department access, parking, and circulation area on the side of and behind the police station. Public Works is undertaking this important public safety project, which will greatly enhance safety and aspects of all aspects of the police functions. And those who are able to attend the police memorial ceremony may wish to take a brief look at those improvements as they continue to move forward. Completion anticipated later this summer. Also, the Town Archive Initiative, which I've been working on with the very able leadership of Town Clerk Michael Palmer, is moving forward quite well. The majority of the long-standing and some outdated records located in the large Town Hall space below Selectmen's meeting room in which we now sit. They have now been sorted, boxed, and some scanned and disposed of according to existing state records guidelines. The sorted and boxed records, which are to be retained, are now being relocated to the new Town Archive location in the vacated Long Pond Water Building. As this process moves to successful closure, this will free up a significant portion of the much-needed Town Hall space identified for the expanded and centralized permitting functions which we have been discussing for some time. Upon further completion of the Town Hall ESCO Phase 2, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning improvements, we will be in the long-awaited position of taking the next important step in the Town Hall office reorganization initiatives. So we're very excited about that moving forward.
Real estate redevelopment.
Indeed, and we're very excited about it. And again, I want to acknowledge and thank Town Clerk Michael Palmer for his great leadership in moving forward on this archive issue. And as Michael's well aware, it's been on our list for some time, and he's been a patient, long-term advocate of multiple attempts to have that archive become a reality. So we're delighted to have that finally moving forward. Also, I want to note that Personnel Director Denise Coleman and I are working with the Falmouth Commodores in setting a Town of Falmouth employee evening for an upcoming Commodores game. Final date yet to be forthcoming. Their annual schedule of 22 home games begins on June 13th, and a hearty play ball. Thank you.
Madam
Terrific.
Chair,
Sam?
if I could have another shot at my
Sure.
Selectmen's report, just two items very quickly. First of all, I don't remember us giving credit to Betsy Gladfelter for all the work on the Coonamessett River
Good
restoration. And she has just been such a dynamo, and so important in writing grant applications and whatever. I just think she
Absolutely.
deserves that recognition. I think the other thing I want to mention is just ask everybody to come out and vote a week from today on May 15th. FCTV recorded the Meet the Candidates night, so I know it's being repeated at various times over the next week. So it's an opportunity to see the candidates' response to various questions. So you have a chance to inform yourself. I know there'll be a special coverage in the local newspapers, both the Enterprise and the Bulletin. So please, do your homework, but just as important, turn out and vote your particular perspective for the candidate you think will serve this community the best.
Very good announcement.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson-Stop.
If I may, a couple items. One, I just wanted to specifically follow up on the town manager's comment on the town hall HVAC long-anticipated upgrades. Those are finally scheduled to start May 21st. So we will actually be seeing some hammers swinging and some equipment being installed, the end result of which should be a much more energy efficient and a much more comfortable environment, this room included.
Oh.
And more.
I'm thrilled. No more teeth chattering while we're conducting meetings.
That is the hope.
Yes.
That is
Not
the
due to
hope.
the temperature anyway.
Right. That's great news.
And I might say more flood resilient in the sense that a lot of the mechanical systems for the HVAC are being moved up out of the basement where they're currently located.
Well said.
That's
Yes.
correct. And
Peter?
two other things, if I might. The skate park is going out to bid for a second time this week. As I think the board is aware, it was bid previously, and we only got one bid, and it was almost 50% over budget. So we have had to scale back the design, which we did, and included an ad alternate to, be able to add something back if the bids come in much better. So we will know within a month or so how we do on this second attempt to bid that out.
Good to know.
And lastly, just to let the public know, the senior center schematic design will be coming to this board on May 21st. The input received at the public input sessions, the public hearings on the 24th was generally positive. The interior was further along than the exterior, and we're now several iterations in on the exterior schematic design. So we are looking forward to the board's input on that on May 21st.
Exciting. Great. I think we're ready for a motion, Mr. Jones.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I knew he wanted to.
Thank you.
I know what it
Welcome to the Falmouth Chamber of Commerce. The Falmouth Chamber is dedicated to working on behalf of our members to make Falmouth a better place to live, work, and conduct business. We are committed to developing the economic, cultural, educational, and civic interests of our community and welcome the support from all organizations to achieve our combined goals. Whether you call Falmouth home, are a summer resident, or a visitor, we hope you take advantage of all that the Chamber has to offer.
Holiday Inn Falmouth opened year-round for your business and travel needs. We provide a full restaurant and accommodations for banquets, holiday parties, weddings, corporate events, seminars, and more. Featuring KC Bar and Grill, where guests or Falmouth residents can enjoy our selection of local craft beers, cocktails, and a variety of pub food from our menu. Holiday Inn Falmouth, your home away from home.